Good afternoon from the KELOLAND Live Doppler Storm Center. We're following showers, maybe an isolated thunder shower at the moment. I do expect to see things become a little more numerous along a cold front in the eastern South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa as we go through this afternoon. That's because of that cold front moving across eastern KELOLAND, meeting up with a lot of moisture that's in the atmosphere. Currently 73 degrees in Sioux Falls, 76 in Brookings. Marshall's up to 83. We have 80 in Worthington. Much cooler air in the central and western South Dakota. Forecast for today showing a lot of us with highs in the 70s. I'll have more details on your forecast coming up as we begin midday in KELOLAND.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group, midday in KELOLAND.
A local high schooler hosts her own tennis camp aimed at Spanish speakers. And President Biden prepares an order that would shut down asylum after a certain number of migrants arrive. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tom Hansen. Authorities are investigating a deadly shooting in T. Just an hour ago, the police department posted an update online confirming the death. Investigators say a man was shot just before noon on Monday on the north side of T. Authorities have arrested 59-year-old Timothy Overton as a suspect in an assault prior to the shooting. He is currently being held without bond. In other news this midday, 2 South Dakota men are headed to federal prison for sex crimes involving children. 46-year-old T.J. Herkus received a 30-year sentence for making child pornography. It was the maximum sentence for that crime. The Watertown man admits to secretly shooting nude pictures and videos of a sleeping child. Herkus also faces rape and child pornography charges in Cottington County. A Sisseton man also received the maximum sentence for committing a sex crime against a child. 40-year-old Lincoln Wana Jr. received a 10-year sentence for abusive sexual contact with the child. When he's released from federal prison, Wana will have 5 years of supervision. Well, the polls opened at 7 a.m. today for the primary election in South Dakota. The election is for 26 Republican House of Representative races and 18 Senate Republican races. The winners of the primary election will represent their district in November's ballot. Now, more details on the candidates, the poll locations, and the districts, you can head to KELOLAND.com. Turning now to a first look at your midday forecast with meteorologist Scott Muntz. And boy, you can just feel that humidity out there, Scott.
Yeah, definitely humid and warm too. I mentioned those temperatures in the 80s in Minnesota, parts of northwestern Iowa, temperatures in the lower 80s. But as that front moves through, we'll have developing thunderstorms. And with that humidity that you mentioned in the air, Tom, we could have some locally heavy rainfall yet again across eastern KELOLAND. So this is what we're looking at the moment. We have showers in the parts of southwestern South Dakota. They do extend into central and north central South Dakota. They're moving east and to the northeast. Then we have a batch of showers across eastern and southeastern South Dakota. Nice to see that rain in north central South Dakota as they've been missing out, it seems like, over the past couple of weeks. And you can see how that rain does extend to just north of Hot Springs. We're watching this area here in the southeastern South Dakota into Nebraska. As this is expected to expand, we'll get more numerous showers and thunderstorms to develop as we do go into the early part of the afternoon. And you can see that here on Futurecast. At 2 o'clock, we'll have these pockets of heavy rain with some of these thunderstorms that do develop right along the border of South Dakota and Minnesota. Notice how they do move to the east as we do go through the afternoon hours and into this evening. A chance of severe weather, it's there. The marginal risk highlighted in green, that covers western Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, as temperatures at the moment are in the 70s and 80s in eastern KELOLAND. 76 degrees currently in Sioux Falls. We have 83 in Marshall. It's currently 57 in Pierre and 55 in Rapid City. But as that sun comes out in the western and central South Dakota, those temperatures will eventually rebound. You can see where that front is. Behind it, we have these west to north winds coming in rather strong, good 20 to 30 miles per hour or more. And I think as we do go over the next couple of days, we'll continue with these strong winds. This is tomorrow afternoon. Some of those wind gusts easily into that 40 mile per hour range, even as we hit Thursday. Still at that strong northwest wind with gusts of 40 miles per hour or more. And then once we get into Friday, those winds will start to calm down. Temperatures today will reach the 70s, even 80s in Minnesota and Iowa. I'll have more details on your KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. A Sioux Falls high schooler recently started her own tennis camp, and she's teaching it all in Spanish. Charlotte Crawford says she wanted to find a way to connect with the Hispanic community. That's why she hosted a tennis camp last week called Jugando Juntos, which means playing together in Spanish.
I've noticed that there's a huge opportunity to build the sport. And I've also am in the Spanish immersion program, so I've been learning Spanish since kindergarten and kind of taking those two big passions of mine together and making a program that can help kids learn how to play tennis.
The free 3-day camp included ages 10 to 12. Other friends of Crawford's also helped coach in tonight's Eye on KELOLAND. Carly Phillips tells us how it all got started. The petition for an initiated measure to legalize the use, possession, and distribution of marijuana in the state has been validated for the 2024 general election. Secretary of State announced in a release initiated Measure 29 will appear on the November ballot. Reports say the ballot measure would allow people 21 years or older to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana in any form other than marijuana concentrate or other marijuana products. Well, President Biden is expected to announce a long-anticipated executive action today on the issue of immigration. It would be the toughest move so far to control the number of migrants coming across the U.S. border with Mexico. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
Earlier this year at the U.S.-Mexico border, President Biden urged Congress to pass a border security bill.
They desperately need more resources, need more agents, more officers, more judges, more equipment in order to secure our border.
Now, after Senate Republicans rejected the measure, Biden is issuing a new executive order. It will allow U.S. immigration officials to deport migrants without processing their asylum claims when the number of illegal border crossings surpasses a specific threshold. Sources tell CBS News that number is likely 2,500 a day, which means it would likely be activated immediately. In May, Border Patrol recorded an average of 3,800 crossings daily.
These administrative actions are not going to solve the situation at the border. They will make a big difference. They will bring a lot of order to the border.
With the presidential election just months away, Republican senators question Biden's motives.
Why did you wait until now if you were serious about doing it? The simple answer is he's not serious.
And the Trump campaign released a statement saying if Joe Biden truly wanted to shut down the border, he could do so with a swipe of the same pen, but he never will. Biden's executive order will likely be challenged in court. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Unaccompanied children are expected to be exempt from the order, which is expected to go into effect after midnight.